I am Darren Cyr, candidate for mayor of the City of Lynn. I'm here to tell you why I'm running. I've been a resident of Lynn for 62 years. I've given most of my adult life to City of Lynn. I grew up here, I graduated from Lynn Tech. I graduated from Marshall Middle School, which was Easton Junior High. And I graduated from Avon School. The reason why I talk about Lynn schools is because the need that we have and the need that we have to build new schools. 50% of our schools are over 100 years old. My sons were fifth generation graduating from Avon School. As proud as I am of that, the problem is that it's also unacceptable, that it's a very old, dilapidated building, and our kids should be in state-of-the-art buildings. As a Ward 3 councilor for the past 16 years, one of my first things that I did was to work on getting a new Marshall Middle School built. That's a $100 million school that's used as an example throughout the state. They bring people in from other cities and towns to see what the possibilities are. It's such a state-of-the-art building that our kids in the 6th grade are making a decision as to what they want to do in life, whether or not they want to go to college or whether or not they want to be a carpenter or electrician. And the reason why I say that, because you're given every experience when you attend Marshall Middle School, meaning that you can walk into a state-of-the-art studio, state-of-the-art music room, state-of-the-art lab, state-of-the-art wood shop, state-of-the-art cooking class. So you can either go on to college or you can go to a trade school. And speaking of trade schools, Lynn, I always say this, Lynn Vocational Technical Institute is probably one of the best learning facilities that we have in the city, because you can go there, you can study to learn a trade and not have to go to college. If you choose to go to college afterwards, you can do that with the experiences that you get from Lynn Tech. I'm like I said, graduate of Lynn Tech. My wife was a graduate of Classical High School. Both of our families have been entrenched in the city. I'm a firm believer in education. I know that there's a housing crisis in the city of Lynn. And I think that the way to fix that housing crisis is through education. It may take an entire generation to do that. I know that there are housing advocates. There's a housing plan, housing production plan that's being presented to the council. We're working on that right now, trying to take a look at it. I appreciate the time that people put into that. But some of the issues that I have with it, when they talk about inclusionary zoning throughout the city, when they talk about all new development having to include affordable housing, I look at that as a way to actually stop development from talking to developers. I think we can come up with a plan, a program, so that people can afford to buy houses. I know that's one of the big issues in Lynn, is that people cannot afford to buy a house because of how expensive it is. And one of the programs that I'm looking at doing is called generational mortgaging. Instead of a 30-year mortgage, you can have a 40 or a 50 or a 60-year mortgage. That and the reason why they're called generational mortgages, they're meant so that family members can take over the mortgage at a point. And I look at that as people would be invested in their city if their families decided to stay here and could afford to stay here and work and contribute. I look at the future development of our city, the Lynnway. I look at downtown, Market Street area as our future industry. 30 years ago, we had the GE, we had Norelco, we had Harvard Box Company, we had many factories, the Nisson's Bakery, which provided jobs, which people had owner-occupied homes that they lived in, and the people that rented from them were usually people that worked with them or family members. as I said, I've had 16 years of experience as a city councilor, Ward 3 councilor. I've had 4 years of experience working in a mayor's office for Pat McManus. I was the director of special projects. I've had 4 years experience working as council president. I've got years of experience working in many community groups. I was on the church council at Holy Family Church, PTA, Parent Teachers Association, in our school system. I have experiences working as a Little League coach, as a soccer coach, which I might say the first year I was a soccer coach, our team, I don't think we won one game in our first season. But for the next several seasons, we were undefeated. It was amazing what we were able to do. The reason why I keep saying all the experiences that I've had is because I believe that our next mayor should have the experience of not only living in the city, but also being a part of all the different groups. Always have had to work 2 jobs my entire life. I can I've had the same experiences that most people have had living here in the city. I know how hard it is to provide for your family and to achieve the American dream. I really believe that as mayor, I can help all of our citizens that live here so that they can achieve that American dream. I know each neighborhood has its own issues and problems, whether it be Goldfish Pond, Pine Hill, up in the, I still call Happy Valley, the golf course, the Meadow, which is behind English High School, Fraser Field. I mean, no matter what neighborhood you live in, there are all different issues. I want to represent everyone. I want to give everyone an opportunity to sit at the table so that their voice can be heard, that when we make decisions, that everyone is going to have a spot at the table. Thank you very much. I'm Darren Cyr. I'm asking for your vote in September in the primary on the 14th, and I'm going to ask you to continue with supporting me into the final election. Thank you very much.
Hi, I'm Jared Nicholson, and I'm running for mayor of Lynn. First, I just want to thank Lynn Community Television for this opportunity. I'm running for mayor to help with the recovery from COVID-19 and to provide leadership for growth that's inclusive, that benefits the whole city, that includes everyone. I'm in my 3rd term on the Lynn School Committee. I'm a dad to my young son, Henry, who's almost 2. I'm a husband to my wife, Catherine, who's a nurse midwife at Mass General. In my day job, I'm a professor at Northeastern at the law school. I got started in Lynn founding a legal aid practice that works with low-income entrepreneurs and small businesses in support of community growth. From the beginning, I saw the importance of the connection between education and economic development for the city's future and was elected to the school committee 6 years ago. I'm excited that in this campaign for mayor, my experience in education from my work on the school committee and my experience on city issues like housing and economic development have prepared me to step up in this role in this moment. I'm running for mayor because I believe I have the skills and experience to provide leadership for inclusive growth, to both create opportunities for growth and to make those opportunities inclusive. I have deep experience on education issues from my work on the school committee. I also have deep experience on city issues, like housing and economic development, from my work as a lawyer and a law professor. I bring a fresh perspective based on that work as a lawyer and a law professor. I've worked with other cities on economic development issues. I've worked with businesses of all sizes from all over the world. In addition to that fresh perspective, I have a record of delivering results right here in Lynn. For example, I started a wrestling team in Lynn. I identified an experience that was missing from our city's youth and put together a team to make it happen and make a difference. I also have a record of being there for people when they need it, as someone who's open, accessible, and dependable. I've done that time and time again in my role in the school committee, working with students and families, teachers, particularly working with families. My ability to speak Spanish has been very helpful working directly with Spanish-speaking constituents. In addition to the ability to deliver for people here in the now, I can work towards a longer-term vision for a better future. That vision is centered on inclusive growth, growth that fits into a larger blueprint that's developed with real community input and thoughtful collaborative planning. Growth that unlocks what we all believe to be the true long-term potential of the City of Lynn by making sure the whole is greater than the sum of its parts through thoughtful and inclusive planning. A big part of that vision of inclusive growth is better schools, particularly the physical state of our schools. It's about better housing, addressing the rising cost of housing so that we can make sure that people can afford to stay here and participate in the growth that we believe is coming. It's about better jobs and helping people get into higher paying jobs, supporting small local businesses as a strategy for inclusive growth. It's about better infrastructure, fixing our roads and sidewalks, improving our public transportation, delivering basic city services effectively. And it's about more peace, because peace is a precondition for opportunity. Most of all, when I think about the future, I think about my young son, Henry. I want Lynn to be a place that prepares him to go anywhere and inspires him to love it here. We're working hard to reach you and gather your input. We've hosted listening sessions on a variety of issues, housing, jobs, infrastructure, and we'll continue to gather your input to build a vision for this campaign together. I invite you to please reach out to me directly. My website has a lot of different ways to get in touch with me. It's www.jarednicholson.org. I'm also on social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and invite you to reach out. If you're interested in getting involved, we could really use your help. We're building a strong grassroots team that's reaching every neighborhood in the city, and we'd love to have you on board. This has been a truly hard year and a half with the pandemic. We've lost so many loved ones, 217 in the City of Lynn. Students have struggled being out of school. Frontline healthcare workers like my wife and other essential workers have been asked to do so much. Businesses, like the small businesses that I work with as a law professor, partnering with the city during the pandemic to provide free legal help, have struggled immensely. We need to recover from the pandemic fully and fairly. We also need to take advantage of the opportunity that Lynn has for growth by putting our best foot forward. And we need to do it in a way that's inclusive, that benefits the whole city. I'm running for mayor to provide the forward-thinking leadership that we need in this moment to recover and grow together. And I ask for your vote September 14th and November 2nd. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Michael Satterwhite, candidate for mayor for the City of Lynn, and I'm here to talk to you, the voter. I'm here to talk to you about my plans for the City of Lynn and how they include you. I'm running for mayor to be a voice for you. I see this every single day. That Lynn, yes, is a place with a bunch of buildings, but it's the people that make Lynn great. And I'm running for mayor for the people. People tell me often that they know that I have a vested interest in this city. And I do. I lived here all my life. My family lives here. My wife, her family lives here. We have strong roots here in the city. One thing that I don't have is a vested interest in this position, because it's just a position. The power is what people are running for. And I will use that power for good. I will use that power to make sure that every single community, every single resident here in the city is heard. And I'll do that every single day, working and fighting for you. I'm the only candidate that is a mediator and a conciliator. So I listen to people and their problems, and I help them come to resolutions. And as mayor, I'll do the same thing. As a Lynn resident and a homeowner and a small business owner, I've lived the experiences that we're talking about. So many people will come and say, hey, we have this issue here in the city, or we have that issue here in the city. And guess what? I lived through it. I've experienced it, and I've worked through it. I went from being and living in poverty as a young kid to owning my first home at 21. I went from moving 8 times before the age of 11 to becoming an attorney here in the city of Lynn. Every day I work hard for my family, and every day I'll work hard for yours. As mayor for the city of Lynn, I'll make sure that we're working on bringing jobs that pay well. And that's going to happen with making a huge focus on the middle skilled careers that are out there, and making sure that our youth and our adult population are ready for those careers. We have 25,000 jobs here already in the city, but half of those jobs pay less than $3,333 a month. The other half, they're in manufacturing and in the health industries. But what is important to realize is only 8,000 of those 25,000 jobs are held by Lynn residents. So there are 17,000 people coming from outside of our city to work in the jobs here in the city of Lynn. How do we fix that? By educating our adult population and our youth to fill these positions, these very important positions, and I'll do that. It's important to realize that affordable housing impacts every single family here in the city of Lynn. When I talk about affordable housing, I'm not talking about vouchers or Section 8. I'm talking about the realistic ability to afford to live here in the city. And with the ever-growing property taxes and the city fees being assessed to the residents and homeowners, it becomes unaffordable. We have to address those things right away. We have to talk about education, the public education, and Lynn Tech, and the cap that we currently have there. We have to get more students learning a trade in order for them to succeed in life. And we have to expand these programs to include the adult population so they can break the cycle of poverty. We have to address the city services and making sure that they're high quality and consistent throughout the city. We have to talk about drug and violence. My family struggled with drug addiction, and it impacted us. And it's something that impacts the city every single day. We have over 300 nonprofits here within the city that are working on different missions. The city needs to be the beacon of voice for the community to understand that these services are out there so we can address our drug and violent problems within the city. And that entails opening up and listening to the community, seeing the needs of each resident and helping to meet those needs, either through connections with nonprofits or other entities. It's vital to understand the pulse of the city. And that's been the issue for those leading for such a long time. The pulse of the city is we want change. The pulse of the city is we don't want the same thing happening over and over again. Just recently, 3 years ago, we borrowed $14 million from the state in order to balance 2 fiscal budgets. What do you think changed since that time? The state got involved. We don't need that. We can have leaders that can run this city and make sure that we're doing the right thing all the time, that we're not just giving special treatment to just a few, that we're not having business as usual. In my time, 4 years on the school committee, you've witnessed that time and time again. I use my voice because I know I'm not speaking just for me. I'm speaking for you. And you'll have that as a mayor. You have a mayor that speaks out and proudly for each and every single one of the people in the community. And I'll do that every day. I'm qualified, I've been tested, and I'm ready to be mayor for the city of Lynn. So I ask for your vote this September 14th and again, November 2nd. And I ask for your support. You can reach me at masforlynn@gmail.com, or my cell phone at 617-257-1295. I'm here, I'm accessible, and it's for everybody. I appreciate you and your support. Please vote Michael Satterwhite for mayor for the City of Lynn. Thank you.